You never start on time.
Hey, I always. I've never been late by 2 minutes.
I mean, if you were going to start on time, then you would have started 2 minutes ago.
Oh.
So yeah, we haven't actually started. You can't convince me otherwise.
Well, Discord's like completely broken. There we go.
Yeah, no, it's fine. See, you haven't started yet. It doesn't actually exist.
And my webcam changed in size, so I gotta resize it a bit. Oh, come on.
I still haven't started.
I got myself a new webcam, guys. Look.
Who are you even talking to? We're not streaming.
Oh. Hi, no one.
Hi, no one.
Welcome
no one, never, ever.
To Dungeons and Downloads podcast every Thursday at 7:30 Eastern, 8:30 Atlantic time. What are we talking about, Cal?
We're talking about dungeons, and actually, for once in a very long time, potentially some downloads.
We can stop talking enough about one thing to talk about the other thing.
We'll see what happens.
There's a potential that something could happen.
No promises. But yeah, here we are.
I promise you that we're going to make a promise that we might get there.
Downloading dungeons since 2021, 2022. Where are we at? Are we at 2 years yet?
I don't know.
I think it was 2021. Wasn't it like December of 2 years ago? I think it was 2021.
I think we streamed that one to YouTube, so I can find out.
Live since 2021.
Live since the 2020s.
We're still in the 2020s.
Yep.
That's not a real big accomplishment. Like, we could have started the streaming yesterday, and then it would have been from the 2020s.
They'll never know. Let's see.
They would know since I just told them.
June 15th, 2021.
Wow, June? We did it this summer?
Yep. Streamed on June 15th, 2021.
And I still don't remember to start Firebot.
We talked about E3.
That's right. That was our first podcast. Was E3, and that wasn't like one of our other ones. Right after that was AGDQ or SGGQ or something like that. We did two major
E3,
events pretty close,
and then it went pre-ordering the Intellivision. There was like a whole episode.
Remember the Intellivision? Rufus, what are your thoughts on the Intellivision these days?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about it. I've no. And then it was what our favorite games were. We talked about speed running, and then we did GDQ. So it was basically our first stream, and then exactly a month later we had big things. And then we did the blind race of Donkey Kong. We did that. Yeah, because we did a day off Twitch 2021, which was in September. Yep. We sure did.
That's right, because we did just that.
Yep.
Intellivision. Like, I can still pre-order it. It's still open for pre-orders.
Oh, fuck.
Reserve yours now with no deposit. That's not a good sign.
Oh, well, I mean, it totally is a good sign, because before you had to pay to get on the pre-order list. Now you can just be like, yeah, sure, I'll get on the list. No deposit required.
Shipment. Select number of controllers to add to cart. I'm not going to actually go through with this. Adding to cart. Because I probably have to put, like, credit card info down, and I don't want to do that. Email, payment, and discounts. Yeah, you pay $0. But if it came out in 5 years, you'd have to randomly pay like $300 for 2 controllers worth.
Out of curiosity, what do you think our most viewed video is? While I'm on
Prisoner
YouTube.
13 Part 1.
Yeah, it is.
So we streamed that as it came out. and I think that's the only reason that became the most viewed, is that probably was just the most.
But like Masterpiece and Broglio didn't come out that, like we put that out pretty quick too.
But Prisoner 13 was also free and everyone had access to it.
Yeah.
So you're grabbing the edgy, not the edgy, but the like people who, I guess everyone gets a chance to play it. So you're catching people who are on the cutting edge of D&D, playing the newest adventures. Fair. And you're also catching people who might want to play it because it's free. So they're going to watch, like they're a DM, they're going to watch us play it and be like, I wonder if I want to play this. What they didn't know is they also should have caught the podcast that week to hear some behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, rip.
That right there would have been the right call.
Yeah, you gotta watch the podcast.
You gotta watch the podcast.
I watch.
But yeah, do you?
Sometimes. How do you think I get the TikToks and the YouTube shorts?
Yeah, I know it's smart.
I don't have a choice. I have to.
You know what we're supposed to talk about this week? What we didn't talk about? What we decided not to talk about?
What?
What we'll be doing for next week, and we need to remember to put that. I'm just gonna make notes for that, like soon. 1D&D.
Oh shoot! Yeah. Yeah, we were gonna do that this week, but
yep,
we'll have to do it next week. We're gonna go through all of 1D&D.
Yep, we're gonna look through everything,
and we're gonna do side-by-side compares with 5e. But yeah, I'm not mentally ready for that right now.
No.
So why don't you tell us about your games? Let's get on into it.
So that's right. I have 2 games.
Yeah, I got nothing.
You're gonna have a game tomorrow. Hopefully, fingers crossed that certain places in Canada get power. The shit so exactly. So I had 2 games. Which one do you want me to start with? Usually you pick.
Oh, give
the person who doesn't.
Tell them what happened in Out of the Abyss first.
Out of the Abyss, you guys woke up in a town and you started playing detective. Yeah,
pretty
much you did. You heard of some possible bad things. There was some people heard of some strange things that were happening as far as some potential maybe overhunting, mutilated corpse of some stuff. You met a NPC cleric, Bartholomew Gravedigger. He helped point you guys in the right direction. You went out, you found a corpse that was completely mutilated beyond necessity of any form, and none of the body was taken for any sustenance of any way, shape, or form. Then you kind of followed that trail to a giant, large pile of bodies like that. And through some nice rolls, you figured out that this seems like something Knowles would do.
Every time Sildar rolls to learn something that turns out to be a Knoll, he crits.
It's true.
Every time.
He's a Knoll expert. Every single time.
He doesn't even know he's making a Knoll check. And he crits it. The dice know.
The dice know that Knoll checks are about to happen. And they're like, you know what, Sildar?
You know who knows about Knolls?
You get to know. Sildar knows about Knolls.
Yep.
But yeah, so here's where the adventure could have gone in many different ways for this part of the adventure. It was perfectly fine. Well, I guess technically at the beginning, there was nothing forcing you guys to help this town out. You could have just waited around till nighttime until your weapons were done and then left the next morning if you wanted to. Like, that was an option. But you guys decided you wanted to help the town out. So you got to this point, and then you decided you wanted to track because there was potentially some thought of altars being erected where the animals were killed. Thinking you're hoping to yourself and trying to stop a possibility of a demon lord getting summoned on the surface, since you've already witnessed one being summoned in the Underdark.
See, I never thought they were trying to bring summon Yigano, but like They do it in his name, but
I feel like some people thought that there was a chance that they summoned
him.
I
think they did.
I think that's because they thought, I mean, you guys literally witnessed a demon lord get summoned in the Underdark, so in a similar fashion.
Yeah.
Except the Sloopladopplians called the Demogorgon by a different name.
Mm-hmm.
But they still chanted his name, did some stuff, and then Demogorgon came out of the water. So yeah, you guys decided to track the blood trails back to their spot. You rolled pretty decent on the survival check. Literally, that check was just to see how long it would take for you to get to each spot. Or to get everything done. So you did okay. It was like part way down as far as the sun went. It was like 3/4 of the way through the day. And then you decided you wanted to camp out where they were. You could have gone back to town and boarded up, thinking if you had thought that there was 100% chance the Gnolls were going to head to town next. You guys were kind of on the fence about that possibility because there weren't a lot of townsfolk, but, for some very good reasons. So you decided to camp out. Turns out any ritual that was happening was actually at a slightly different site. The bodies were literally just mutilated and left there because Gnolls. Because Gnolls.
Were there altars to find?
No.
Okay.
Gnolls don't ritualistically really do anything. They just hunt and then leave their prey, and that's it.
They do, but they make stone altars. Sometimes
when
they're doing it in the name of Yigano, they typically make an altar on stone and do a sacrifice instead of a killing.
But these were all killings. I mean, sacrifices.
So they weren't sacrifices.
Ritual. They were sacrifices have ritual to them. There would have been more. You guys had some pretty good checks. You would have noticed some very specific incisions for a sacrifice.
I went the ritual route because they're trying to summon the demon lord. And I'm like, well, if it's a ritual, they'll have a stone altar because that's how that works. But it was just killings.
None of the bodies had any precision done to it, and a ritual has to have some form of precision.
Oh, I agree with you.
A precision cut. So that was meant to kind of lead the entire, every time a check was made, the whole, everything seems to be, unnecessary, specifically things
Well, that's why I didn't think they were trying to summon Yigano. I was like, well, no. This looks like just killings. They do both.
They do both.
But I think this time they're just killing. I don't think they're... But when they were like, nah, we think that we're trying to summon Yigano, I was like, okay, let's find the altar then. Because that's what they do.
That's what they do. So they didn't find any altars. They went back to the spot where the bodies were to camp out. Turns out they were having a little bit of I guess another kind of ritual be performed next to, not at that site, but close by. So you went and you scoped it out. But now previously the thought was that Gnolls wanted about packs of 20. And when you got to the altar site, I believe Niskra counted out 70 plus Gnolls total.
I love how I just happened to be right about that.
That there's just that many more of them?
Yeah. Because, I was basing it on my own theory of rituals. And I'm like, look, if you're thinking that, there's got to be more of them. Look at how many bodies are here.
Well, you also specifically looked for cart tracks, and there were no carts, so everything had to have been dragged by hand.
Well, yeah, I was like, well, look at how many more of them they would need to be to pull that off. We're hoping for cart tracks.
Gnolls aren't very strong. They just run in large packs.
Oh, I know that. They're only, is it quarter or half a CR? But I
think they're half. I think some of them are half, some of them are a quarter. What I was saying is even you would need a lot to even drag those bodies. Yeah. Certain, a deer. I don't think a gnoll by itself could drag a deer easily.
That's why I'm saying, we're hoping for carts, because that means there's so few of them, they can't move it, right. And they have to get, an animal to do it.
And the fact that there were no carts meant that there were many.
I love that I was right about that, because I didn't have to be, I just guessed.
So yeah, you guys came across them performing a ritual, turning some of the hunters that they captured into some of the higher up gnolls. You had one unfortunate 0 on a stealth check
from an NPC.
who proved to be very useful in the upcoming battle.
Oh, in that moment, when, first of all, none of us knew if he was even going to fight with us. Back then, we didn't know. It was like, if this guy gets us fucking killed.
So he rolls a 0, he trips, he alerts some of the gnolls to the fact that there's a sound near you guys, because some of you guys rolled enough that you were able to cover up the 0, mostly. And then you guys had to make a pretty quick decision as to what you were going to do next.
Could you have fought there?
You could have fought there. It would have been extremely difficult. You would have been 100% reliant on your wizard's AoE.
Yeah.
To deal with it. You would have been 100% reliant on Fireball to deal with what was there.
Everything that was small. And then when all the small stuff is dead to Fireball, because it's only got 20-ish health, then you go after the big dudes.
Well, you're hoping that you're also clipping some of the big dudes with the Fireball.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. But just the big guys would be a difficult fight.
It is possible that was your hardest. That was the hardest version, was to try and save the hunters. Just flat out. But you decided, so at that point, you could have, the only way you rush back to town ahead of them at that point is you do like a check to see how fast they're moving, and then you push yourselves a little bit to get back to town and then board it up. The easiest way to fight that was to be at the inn with a defensible, like boarding up the windows, barricading the door, and you could have defended in the inn against everything because it would have been a choke point.
Right.
That was the easiest way to do it, but you would have had to either you would have had to do a check to see how fast the army was moving down south, and rather than shadow them, run ahead of them, or you would have had to just assume that they were going to town and then try and defend everyone and get everyone in.
Yeah. That's why I didn't want to go back.
So
at that point.
It's totally because you don't know if they were going to go to town.
Yeah, well, like based on what we've seen, it's a bit of a leap without knowing their motivation. Like it,
right? You never know because that town's not big. As far as there's not a lot of people there. And
it also doesn't fit the theory of sacrificing, because they specifically do their sacrificing in the wilderness. So going into the town like that.
The only going into town just fits the theory of wanton destruction. That's the only theory that it fits.
Yeah, exactly. Which was not the theory we were running with. So I was like, well, why would we go back? There's no indication that they are going to attack town. They're opportunistic.
Right. So you guys went and did the one way I wasn't expecting. So I had them all clumped up at the start of town to the left and hidden. But it made more sense if you guys were to come in behind them, and then a little bit of it had started, for them to be much more spread out through the town.
Yeah.
So I had to move all the tokens around, get everything all set up, and then you guys came into the left. You ended up, I feel like you guys did a pretty good job in that fight.
I could have gone either
killed
way.
The caster like immediately. Didn't get a chance to do anything. The caster was dead.
That's the only reason that fight went well.
Yeah. And then you pretty quickly dealt with the other larger gnoll. His whole shtick is that he doesn't use his unstoppable trait unless he's below half health, where he can just use his reaction to shrug off damage, because he's meant to be like an overconfident gnoll.
Can you imagine if we just attacked what was closest to us?
You would have wiped out a couple gnolls, and that would have been it.
Yeah, we'd have all died. Like, that was a very close fight. It is like lopsided as it turned out to be on the other end of that. Picking the wrong target, any of us in the first 2 turns would have been very detrimental.
That ended up being a very long, drawn out, close fight. If you didn't have your cleric there to heal you at that point, you would have all. I mean, I guess Deathray could have done some cure wounds, but he put out a lot of healing that fight.
Yeah, no, he did work. Like, imagine if he would have went down.
Yeah, like, they weren't hitting him, but if they had started connecting like they did on poor Sildar, who has a 20 AC and got hit with almost every attack that went his way.
Yeah. Like, that was a pretty optimized fight. Like, there wasn't much room for, I don't want to say decision, but like, that's how that had to go. Like,
yeah. I mean, in the end, you were able to split the group a little bit and ask people go try and save. Because the way it goes is the gnolls, as a layer action, so on initiative count 20, they all try and break into places. And depending on how I rolled earlier, because I pre-rolled all the stuff to see how long it would take, they would break into certain houses and then they would just murder for whatever, like they would just murder and then leave.
Yeah.
Nisker was able to break away from the fight and save the blacksmith and at least some form of things that you had, asked him to make, and also save another one of the commoners. That's where we stopped it. You guys are actually currently on a decision as to whether to try and mop up, since there are no more big guys, or to run with Bartholomew over to where he knows that there's a safe spot to go.
I think that's what we should do, but we'll see what the group decides.
We'll see what happens. I know that Nisker's very confident because he didn't take, I think, any damage. There was a point at the end of the battle. There was a point at the end of the battle where it was just 2 melee guys, and rogues can kite. That's just it.
Yeah.
Especially because he had a water walking ring, so he was able to kite on the lake in the town. And that was it. Rusty, I know, is down to only level 1 spell slots. Bartholomew's down to, I think, 1 level 2 and the rest level 1. Like, your magic users are very tapped out. And Sildar just keeps getting hit.
It's a problem.
We'll see what happens. I know it's going to be very interesting. The start of next week's it's going to be an interesting one.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't... Well, I mean... It's not like the entire part of the fight. There's an entire point of the fight is it's not like nothing is happening while you're doing stuff. So something is going to happen while you're making your split second decision.
Oh, yeah.
That may sway it either way. We'll see. We'll see. The last thing we left off with is that they broke into the cleric's house. The cleric. Now you know what happened. Do you think he had anything to do with it or no?
The cleric?
With your what happened to you? No. The old guy that cured your madness. Okay, you just thought it was an effect because there were so many gnolls in the area, it just kind of corrupted.
No, I just figured because I had a madness, I was going to keep a madness because this is my third character.
So in the book, one of the very few things it tells you to do is all your characters have gone to the surface now. Make sure they have time to, they should be fully equipped at this point for the first time in the campaign. And maybe give them, and it does actually specifically say, give them some chances to remove some of their madnesses. That is in the book. So it's like, the only way that's going to happen is if you pay a cleric to do that. So, okay. And then maybe you'll have a little bit of a twist. But yeah, Deathry currently only has 1 madness. He dropped the other one. He's down to 1.
That other madness was really just Deathry vocalizing as he would, things that it wouldn't be uncommon in the Underdark for someone to egg on a fight.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So maybe I've never done it, but that's not uncommon. I would have seen that every day for my entire life, probably.
There is the possibility with some of these advanced madnesses that you're going to have to fight and tie down someone if they get them and then get it cured. Because these get a lot rougher than I see everyone's out to plot me madness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all demon.
It's okay. I'm going to get them all. And if I die, I die. Just more madnesses to go around.
We'll see. There's all the demon lords have their own madness table, so it kind of pulls off of that. There's much worse.
What do you roll on? What do you roll on when I make a new character?
Oh, that you base madness for new character.
Okay.
I think I mean, I might switch it up if you end up with 10 You're not gonna have 10 madnesses, but I would do base madness, and then the new madness would just stack on top of that. And you can get them cured. They just cost diamonds, and I need to remember to make a point, because I don't think I've done that yet, but that diamonds aren't like, you can't easily get them in this world. You can buy them, but they're scarce. You're not going to be, they're going to be expensive. They're going to be scarce. It's not going to be like you can just get a bunch of diamonds and then have your cleric revivify. You're going to have to go through like some processes, maybe help out some people. Like there's stuff you got to go through.
Well, I feel like that's how it's supposed to be in general, though. Like, I feel like that's why revivify costs diamonds. You're not supposed to be able to go to the market and just, like $5,000 worth of diamonds.
Yeah, Revivify is a 300 gold piece diamond. I
Even 300. 300 gold is an exorbitant amount of money to spend on a single thing.
It's true.
Like,
and you're not in the Underdark anymore, so that is, unless it's 300 gold is like what you would spend on. Would that be a magic +1 weapon?
So like, 1 gold piece is apparently similarly equivalent to $490.
Yeah, 300 is a lot. But I mean, this campaign literally just hands out gold pieces like candy at some point.
Oh, it does, but like, I guess what I'm getting at though is like, where in a D&D market are you gonna buy that?
Oh, like you'd have to go to a specialty store and
in a huge city.
In a big city that's gonna upsell, like they're gonna also probably upcharge for that diamond. Like you're gonna,
You're not gonna pay $500 for $500 worth of diamonds.
No.
You're gonna pay like $800 or $900
for 500 gold worth of diamonds. Yeah.
You can sell it for 500. Is what it means. That's not what
that's why it's actually huge that you found, like literally in the book when you help the Myconids, they give you a diamond that can be used for resurrection, like for revivify. They literally give you a diamond that is the perfect. It's 500 gold pieces.
Yep, that's why they give it to you.
Yeah, they're like, now if you have a cleric, if it has level 4, I think is revivify. Barty has revivify. It's there. It exists. He doesn't have any diamonds.
So like, there's your one do-over. There's your one. But like, that's how they balance resurrection.
It also is
like
100% possible because it's a minute for revivify, where you have to revivify in combat. It's you could the corpse should only be dead for a minute, so you have to revivify in combat, and then the guy just dies again because it's 1 HP.
Yeah.
All possible, but yeah.
Even at a combat, though, just keep running the turns. Okay. How far away is your cleric? He's got a death save every turn, and every turn is 6 seconds.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm saying in combat, even out of combat, if your cleric's really far away, you have to make sure that the cleric's within. I mean, I feel like the cleric can get there within 10 rounds. But you'd still run it.
It's easily calculatable, right? And then you just
you would just calculate it and say whether it's possible or not.
Yeah, can he get there before you'd have to roll 6 death saves? No? Okay then. Roll 6 times or until you die or come up.
Yeah. No, I mean, like the one time you guys were even close, when Deathry was close to death in the pudding court, like I made you guys roll for that save just because we weren't 100% sure because of the failed medicine check. But then Sildar was able to get to both of you.
You should always roll it out. Always roll it out until it's time.
When it gets, I'll usually have people roll the first death save, and then if it's a success and I can see that there's people around that can do stuff, then sure. Or have a guaranteed. I mean, a guaranteed way of getting people up.
Nah, I'll let them fail. If everyone,
that's not. So I'm saying that like, I will have them roll a death save, and then if there is someone within 30 feet that will be able to lay on hands, get them up next turn, I'll say, okay, that's going to happen.
Yeah, if they want to.
Yeah, I mean,
I make them do it. Now you got to come up with the idea, guy. You're the one in the panic situation.
Okay. I'm not saying that I give them the idea too. I'm saying if the paladin literally says, I'm going to just get there next turn and lay on hands them, I'm not going to make that, if there is no possibility, if they have 0 fails, I'm not going to make them roll a death save and then the paladin physically go over there. If the paladin has already stated that they're going to do that.
I'm still going to get them to roll just so they know. Just so they know.
Why? It just takes up.
What if it was a crit fail? And that guy was at a lay on hands? Like.
Well, okay, I don't think we're on the same page here. I'm saying that the paladin has told me this and has lay on hand points to use.
Yeah, I know, but for the character, knowing how close they actually were to death, I don't know. I'd want to know.
You would want to roll an entire turn of combat.
Well, no, just like get him to roll the save.
Oh, okay. Sure.
You don't have to run the whole thing. If like this guy's got lay on hands, 10 people don't have to do medicine checks.
Are you
like, sure? I would want to know what the outcome of my roll was going to be, because if it was a crit fail, it's like, oh shit, what if he was out of points? How fucked would I be?
Deathry was. If Deathry hadn't crit success, there was a chance he was dead. I think you were down to. If you had failed that roll, you were dead. If you had succeeded on it, you would have been fine, and you ended up crit successing.
Like
you had 2 fails, and someone had messed up a death save, and the paladin was too far away and already used their turn.
Like I would definitely, as a player, I would want to make that roll. I would want to know where my fate would have laid had my friends not just saved my ass.
Well, now you know you have good berries all the time, so you're fine.
Yeah.
That can't possibly go wrong.
How could it go wrong?
I mean, like you wouldn't possibly be downed again afterwards.
I got 7 more.
Berry, you're good.
I gotta start throwing them after that, but I've got 7 more on my. They each have 1, and I have 7.
Just imagine if I had positioned that cloud just a little bit farther closer to the Pudding King, and then it rolled and then stayed on everyone.
Oh yeah, but like
Goodberry, I don't think would have helped that, because you would have gotten.
Nothing would have helped.
It would have been just like no.
It's not a fault of the Goodberry. Nothing was gonna help.
I'm not saying it's a fault of the Goodberry no matter what.
That's like the same. That's like me saying, "Hey, yeah, so I take vitamins first thing in the morning," and you're like, "Yeah, but you could still get hit by a train." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I could." You're right. I guess the vitamins wouldn't help that.
Made Snog and was like, "Is this okay? Is this unfair for this campaign?" And he is currently no longer your main character.
Yeah. That's a thing.
It's like, I have a way to create and destroy water and like food and everything's good. Is this unfair? And I was like, yeah, go for it. Don't worry about it. And he is no longer your main character.
Look, man, the way Wizards campaigns go, it would have either completely destroyed or made no difference.
It helped you guys feel a little bit better. You didn't have to worry too much about food or water.
Yeah, and then I became a barbarian and all of it, we had to worry again.
And then I was like, I'm gonna go barbarian, guys. No, and then I'm gonna be turned to stone. Oh. Yeah. That was Out of the Abyss. We did stuff. You guys did stuff. It was great. I'm excited to see what happens next week. We'll see if you guys decide as a group to stay and fight or run away. What?
Oh, we spent over half an hour on that. That's great.
Out of the Abyss has been a really good campaign.
Oh, there's so much to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. There's so much to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about.
So good. We didn't play any of my campaigns.
It's true. Hopefully, once again, fingers crossed that certain parts of Canada.
Yeah, Ottawa's got to get itself some more electricity.
Back. And then we can play Waterdeep tomorrow and get back into that. Okay. Well, that was that. Then we had the End of Time, and you guys went to Dreamland. And that was it.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's why I started with Out of the Abyss.
You guys went to Dreamland. You fought you sparred with DDD, Kirby, and Meta Knight. You sparred with a deity. That is Kirby. You just kept beating him up and just wasn't taking any damage.
I was like, inside of him. I don't think that's ever happened to Dennis before.
No, I don't think so. And then you guys did essentially. I did a little puzzle dungeon. I'm happy that came across perfectly. That you're supposed to use the items that you just got to do stuff. You could have.
What was it again? I can't remember.
What?
I can't remember. Explain the puzzle. I'm trying to remember.
So all the puzzles were based off the shards you got. There was the 2 torches that had to be lit pretty much simultaneously. Right.
Yeah, of course you have to use the Kirby ability and the Kirby level. Yeah,
I did that. Yeah. I was like, yeah. And also I gave you guys those shards for later too. Like
when you told me it was an elevator, I was like, okay, I know what's happening here. Except I thought there was going to be more combat related ones than puzzle ones because the game has a lot of weird combat shit, but
I decided against that.
I thank you for that.
Because I was like, okay, so I had in those rooms set up, if you guys had somehow like failed a puzzle a couple times, there were a couple, each element, like the fire room had a couple flame myrmidons set up. Like they're both CR7s, you guys are able to deal with those pretty easily. But I was like, that's just going to be a long drawn out combat that's really not going to accomplish much. I'm just going to let you guys do the puzzle and just take your time to figure it out.
I think once we understood the surroundings, the puzzles were quite simple, which is good.
I think the only thing that took you a long time was the spark puzzle because there were other possibilities to it. If you're curious, the bomb shard almost did enough damage. It's 30 damage in one hit, takes out one of the poles of the shockwave of the wall, and then would have dissipated that area.
See, I feel like it just didn't translate well verbally. I feel like if I could picture the room as you pictured the room, I think
with the walls and also the spark. I mean, I tried to use. I don't remember if I used the words conduct. No, I tried to say,
but like, listen to the sounds of the words that describe what that is, and it sounds more industrial than electrical.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So like, I don't think there was anything you could have done to describe it in a way that would have given me the feeling of spark because of it.
Unless words. I said to use spark. I tried to, I think you guys got it when someone hit the wall really hard, and I think I specifically said, like, sparks come off it, and you see the orb start to light up a little bit and then go away, and that's where we'd be like, spark shard.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, I understand the room now.
Yeah, that you're supposed to go through the shield.
That's just something that without a visual, like an actual visual, like think about it in the games when you got to use the ice power. Where are you? You're in the winter. It's icy, and you can use the ice.
Yeah.
When you're in a room like that, you're seeing electricity arcing all over the place,
constantly.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's electric enemies. So like, it's a very visual thing to solve. I didn't realize that until we did it.
Until that exact, you were like, okay, this makes sense. But I needed the visuals definitely what happened.
It was and like I said, I don't think there's anything you could have done better.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
It came down to, I thought it would have been too on the nose because there's a spark brush in Dungeon Alchemist.
Yeah.
I could have done that around the edges of the room. I thought that would have been too on the nose.
Oh, it would have been super obvious, but that's what the Kirby game would have been like.
Right, that's what the Kirby game would have done. I feel like the flame was definitely super obvious. I feel like the cutter wasn't super obvious. You had to infer that the cutter could have been used as a boomerang, which, based off of the way it deals damage, is the only way you could have inferred that. Because you could have cuttered off the wall and then hit the vase.
How would that have worked? Because we froze it and then smashed it to bits.
No. I'm talking about the one with the pit vase, where Simon jumped, fireballed over, and then smashed it.
So how would that work with cutter?
You'd have to infer that cutter's a boomerang. So you'd have to throw it. I'd make you do like a ranged attack with it.
Yeah.
And then I would have like an AC based off it, and it would go around like a boomerang.
But how would that light the candles?
There was no lighting in the... So I'm talking about the left room with the giant pit in the center. Not the acid pit. The actual pit where Mega threw something down at the start and there was no floor to it.
I thought they were braziers that we lit with the fire.
You didn't go over there, so I don't think you saw. There was a vase on the other side that Simon broke. The brazier was...
Oh, that one.
You're thinking of different rooms.
Yep. Oh, okay.
So you would have had to infer that Cutter was a boomerang and use Cutter that way, which was a little bit of a stretch. Which is why I put in the notes, if they think of another way, that's totally.
Is that
cool.
one of the things where like technically you would have had to throw it and then run horizontally?
Yeah,
to bring it
you
back
would have had to throw and then run. Yeah, you would have had to do that. Yeah, that was that way. But Simon ended up doing a perfectly fine. I think I made him make 2 acrobatics check, but you guys have guidance and he has good acrobatics. It's like essentially, can you cut a corner really fast with a jump and then jump over and fireball?
I was pretty certain that wasn't the solution.
But it's D&D, so sometimes players think of things and you're like, that makes sense. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
I feel like I didn't realize how important breaking the pot was.
That's because, and part of it was I didn't realize when I made it in Dungeon Alchemist, the wall in front of it was too big, and you couldn't see the pot unless I dragged you over there to let you see it.
Because, like, I feel like that kind of room, I would have known to use Cutter to do that, but I didn't understand that.
If the wall was smaller and the pot was bigger, what you would have seen... You would have seen the pot be the only thing in the room. And I guess I could have also described the pot as fragile. And then that would have made a little bit more sense.
The other thing you could have done too is you could have put one of those pots on our side and just had it do something if you break it. So like if you broke the pot on our side, something lights up or dings or something.
Yeah, like there's 2 torches in the room. Well, because then you would just use the firepower though. If it's fire based, it would have to be a ding, like you said.
Yeah. Or like...
Oh, the brazier in the back room behind you gets partially lit. Or you can sense that it's not fully lit, but it's partially lit.
Or like it lights up blue.
Sure, which is different than anything else. So it lights up blue.
Yeah, so
like,
even
okay, we have one more thing we got to do in this room.
Even if you light it on fire with the fire, it's red fire, not blue fire.
Yeah.
But then it's like, hey, I broke a pot like that over here. Maybe I got to break a pot like that over there.
Yeah.
Nintendo was always so good at making puzzles like that.
Yeah.
You ever I think notice that in Donkey Kong Country and stuff like that? How they teach you the mechanic?
Oh, they're great.
Yeah.
I think the 2 most Nintendo puzzles were the double braziers, one which went out if you didn't do it fast enough.
No, I've done that puzzle in a Kirby game before.
The ice one was pretty obvious because water, and I was like, it's a strong vase. You need to make it fragile. And like ice, of course, if people were like, okay, we need to ice it.
Mm-hmm.
So you did that, and then you actually fought the... Essentially, it's the fake last boss followed by what is technically the actual last boss of Crystal Shard. The last boss of Crystal Shard, once you get all the Crystal Shards, he is in a space battle. So I just was like, I'm going to make him a slightly more powerful dark matter rather than somehow teleport you guys to space. So yeah, you guys beat him up pretty good. You guys definitely took some damage. He when he gets more powerful after his mythic action, he can put the hurt on the group. But
we did really well.
You guys did really well because Simon has a really good chip damage.
Mm-hmm.
He has a thing where it does, I think it's 3 psychic damage if it hits him or someone within 5 feet of him. So any AoE dealt to the group does 9 to...
I was just on Gruzik Heal Patrol, wasn't I?
Pretty much.
I was gonna say,
got hurt a bunch.
I was like, I don't really remember fighting.
You were fighting. You definitely healed Gruzik. You guys had a rough, very last part of it. As far as I think it was you and Gruzik both got stunned because he was in lightning form. And the way it works is at the end, his legendary action is shoot a bolt of lightning, do a con save, get stunned, don't get.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
His forms were based off of the shards.
For that fight, it was like heal Gruzik, hit him, heal Gruzik, Because that's what I was doing. I was hitting him just to get the flurry of blows to put onto Gruzik.
It was unfortunate, but he was based off of a creature with high con, so you went for your first stunning strike and was like, oh, he has like a +10 to this roll. I'm not going to try this anymore.
Yeah, well, as soon as I saw that, I was like, nah, just going to heal Gruzik all the way.
It's super unfortunate to monks, but later on, almost everything that's hard has high con.
I mean, that's partially my fault for not speccing better.
I think Dennis is pretty well spec'd for healing.
I mean, I've only got for healing, yeah. But if I wanted to hit a DC on a con save,
you would need more wisdom.
I would need more wisdom, and I didn't do that because I wanted to be able to punch things better.
Yeah,
I wanted to punch and have I knew I wanted Hand of Healing, and I knew that my wisdom didn't really matter for Hand of Healing alone.
Right.
So I didn't.
Yeah, you guys.
I didn't roll good stats.
Mega got DDD's hammer.
Like, listen to this shit. These are my stats. I'm level 12 right now. I've got 2 strength, 2 dex, 3 con, -2 int, +3 wisdom, and 0 charisma. At level 12. The game's half over, like in terms of D&D. I'm over half the level spike. I've got no +4s.
Yeah, you rolled pretty. It was like low and average.
The 1 level in Cleric really slowed me down.
You did. But it helps you heal. And you have no healers right now.
Yeah. And it gives me a cantrip to use at a range that never hits, but...
Yeah, no, Sacred Flame doesn't hit. None of my Sacred Flames hit. None of Bartholomew's Sacred Flames hit, I don't think, either. Sacred Flame is a curse spell.
But I've decided I'm going level 12 Monk next, so I can get an ASI and pump it into Wisdom.
You do whatever you want to do.
No. You don't get a +2 either. It's just a +1, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, no, ASI is +2.
Is it?
Yeah. You can do 2 +1s or a 1 +2.
I would put
you could do an ASI there.
I would put a +2 in Wisdom right now.
It would help you. You would heal for more. You would have a higher DC.
Yep. Like, I don't see a downside to getting a +4 in Wisdom. And then going full Cleric after that.
Well, you'd get level 2 Cleric. That's the only thing. You would end up missing level 2 spells. That's it. That's the only downside, which I don't even know if that'd be worth it, to be honest. Like,
how many spell slots would I get? 2 level 1 spell slots? Or 2 level 2 spell slots and 3 level 1s?
You would end up, I think, with 4 1s, 2 2s.
Yeah, I don't think that's really... Like, I don't think a level 2 spell slot's gonna do much when we're fighting shit that's high a level. Like, I'm really a pop-up guy. My strength is really, now that I'm Monk 11, I can use 2 hands of healing with Flurry of Blows.
For free. Yeah.
Yeah. Or for 1 key point, anyway.
Yeah, for the heal, yeah. You can never check his food, but you can use Hand of Harm with that strike without spending a key. So you can use Hand of Harm only once per turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Hand of Healing you can use as much as you want.
Yeah. I can use it for both strikes, and neither of those combinations require any extra key points. So it's just the 1 key point to Flurry a Blow. And then I can use those for free, whereas before they each used to cost 1 per, and I could only use each one once.
Yeah.
So.
No, I can definitely see taking the level of 12. Oh, the 12 Monk.
I thought I was going to go 3 Cleric, but I just... What do I even get for level 2 Cleric?
I just go 1 in Cleric and then go 13 Monk. Get 1 in Rogue and then Thieves' Cant to yourself.
Cleric 5e. What do I get at level 2 on a Cleric? Oh, I get Channel Divinity. That's fine.
Oh, you get your Divinity. And you get a Divine Domain feature.
And I get another spell slot. It's worth getting the 2nd level, because I don't think 13 Monk is worth anything.
And your Life Domain, so you get Preserve Life. It's actually really simple. You restore a number of hit points equal to 5 times your cleric level. So you can restore 10 hit points as an action for Channel Divinity.
Oh shit, I want 13 monk though.
What's 13 monk?
+5 proficiency.
Oh yeah, you got isn't the proficiency bonus the combined or no?
I don't think so. Feats and ASIs are class based. I'm pretty sure proficiency is class based as well.
Level. Be cool if I could spell. It's always based on your total character level, as shown in the character advancement table. So proficiency bonuses no matter what you do.
If that's so it really the case, I get a key point, and I would get, I think, the ability to transcend language. Yeah, I know all spoken languages. And everyone can understand me. But I think it's going to be so late in the campaign, it won't really matter.
So you guys all get a +5 next level, no matter what you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tongue of Sun and Moon isn't super crazy right now.
Next level, I have to go monk, though.
Because you want the ASI.
Because I need the ASI 12.
Gotcha.
So next level, I'm going to be getting a +5 for proficiency and getting a +4 in wisdom. So that's going to give me a +2 to my perception, which is going to bring that up to 9. And my survival will be 9. So will medicine. I have proficiency in all those. God, I have proficiency in every wisdom stat except animal handling.
Oh, what about animal handling? What did the animals do to you?
Nothing. I still have a +3 to it, but I don't think Dennis really stopped to handle many animals.
You never know. It's funny, you have 3 multi-classers and 1 pure. Your Blood Hunter is your only pure class.
Not gonna lie, I'm kind of regretting it.
No.
I don't know. The guidance, Sildar can do that. Or
Sildar's not in your. No one in your campaign can guidance right now.
Oh, then that's a plus.
The level 1 in cleric actually is probably just useful because of the guidance. If you don't go level 2, you still at least have guidance.
In Shield of Faith.
Right. I mean, you have some useful spells.
In Sanctuary. But I don't know. Because level 14 in Monk would have given me Diamond Soul and an extra 5 feet of movement.
Would have been great.
And
guidance, though. Helping out the group.
Yeah, but listen to this. At the beginning of 14th level, your Mastery of Ki grants you proficiency in all saving throws. Additionally, whenever you make a saving throw and fail, you can spend a key point to re-roll it.
That's great. But guidance. If you're going to ask what is going to be used more, guidance. Because guidance is going to be used all of the time.
Hear me out. I got really low stats, so advantage on every fucking saving throw.
Sure, if you have a key point.
Yeah.
Which you have a lot of those, but also big bads you tend to just go through your key points constantly in big bads. Or larger monsters. But yeah. So you guys beat Kirby. You beat Kirby, went back to the inn, took a rest, and then you had a little discussion in the next morning and kind of talked about, I guess, what your end goal is in Heroes Rest. And you, Dennis found out that his statue is not actually there yet. The goal is to show your guys' statues. Once you know what hero, once you've, I guess, come to terms and kind of realize who you are. We found Inner Peace, which is a very monk thing, which is probably why Dennis thought he was totally chill and ready to go.
Oh, he's freaking the fuck out right now, man.
He hasn't even experienced. Boy. He hasn't even experienced part of himself that's pretty much brand new.
Yeah, he's learning that right now.
But yeah, so that's like the big goal, which is ambiguous because that means I can just, or if everyone is like, yeah, we're good, we just stop after a couple of portals and then go fight Asmodean.
Totally.
Or if you guys are like, hey, we're really chilling right now, I'm totally cool to just keep on portal surfing for a bit.
I don't know what Dennis wants to do. He's freaking out though. He just went from like thinking that he was like fully at peace with himself and the world, and like he thought he's just like, yeah, I'll help you guys do this. That's how sure I am that we won't see your statues and we will see mine. Like that statement alone is like, Dennis clearly isn't as good as he could be right now.
Very true.
He's putting himself before everybody else at this point.
He's now very sad.
He's like, I'm better. No, I'm much better than you guys.
He's not anymore.
He definitely felt that way. So now he's like, his world's crumbling. He's like, if I don't know who I am, what else don't I know?
It's true. What else don't I know?
He's broken right now. It's going to take at least a few portals to bring him back.
He's gotta think about some stuff. He's has to think about some life decisions. That's all. That's all. Anyway, that was it. That was the end of that episode. Next week, we're probably gonna have some deep discussion with Dennis. Next week, we're probably gonna next week we're gonna open up with some non-portal talk, and then we're gonna go into Shovel Knight, which is going to be interesting. I will tell you that for the stage we are 100. What?
Write this in. That way we don't have to make it seem like it's detoured. Story-wise, I'll tell you right now, Dennis doesn't want to go do the next portal, and they're gonna have to spend time and convince him.
Sure. No, I mean I don't have to write it in. We were gonna
argue. No. I just mean like if you want to write a hard interruption because we are taking a substantial amount of time, or they haven't made a good argument.
Oh, you mean like in the Shovel Knight stage?
Well, I mean I'm gonna refuse to go there.
Sure.
So like,
like I already said that we were gonna like chill out for a bit. So like the interruption's already there.
Okay. Cool. I'm just saying.
It's already in the story.
If they may not be able to convince me.
I mean, it's Godric has kind of let you guys know it's his job to make sure everything goes smoothly. And if he notices something isn't going smoothly, he's going to probably try and intervene and try and help us more breakfast. Maybe. I mean, he'll try and help out any way he can. If something isn't going smoothly, because it's literally the job that has been tasked to him by a Titan.
Is he stuck there?
He's in the same state you guys are, so yeah, he's stuck there until everything's...
So he can't get to the library?
He has... I mean, he might have certain ways of contacting it, but yeah, anything that's in the library that is being run at the library is done through like servants at this point, like Arcane.
But I could get
servantry. What?
I could get book.
You might be able to get book.
I said could. It's potential.
I mean, you'll learn more about Godric.
I'm not saying which book.
As far as how he like, is he willing to break occasionally break a rule or something like that?
Like what if I just want like some philosophy books? Like I don't want anything necessarily specific, but Dennis is gonna maybe try to find himself a bit.
Yeah,
I'm not looking for like the book of memories.
No, that's totally fine. He might be able to,
or anything that would be in the restricted sections.
You guys don't know
or time.
Exactly like the rules of where you are, what's allowed to be there and not be there. I mean, it's quite possible books are totally allowed.
Maybe.
You haven't pushed the boundaries of this room will help you out in any way, shape, or form yet.
It's true. We've only asked for breakfast so far.
Breakfast and like and some places to sleep. Yeah.
I think we're gonna find out. I think. Have you ever seen?
At some point, you're gonna find out for sure, because you guys are gonna probably ask, like, and reasonably so, ask for stuff that Godric might not be able to get.
Have you ever seen the diagram of the fuck around and find out diagram?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're gonna hit that point.
Yeah. The more you fuck around, like this is how long it'll take to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more you fuck around, the more you find out, and I think we're gonna fuck around a lot next time.
Yeah. It's true. But yeah, Shovel Knight stage should be fun. We are 100% using rerolled each round initiative for that, because that's going to be, it's a side-scrolling platformer stage, which we can't do side scroll, so it's a top-down platformer stage.
Honestly, I really enjoy it in general.
Yeah, I think it's actually a really good way to do it. I haven't switched anyone over because that's how we've just been running the campaigns, and I've been trying to keep it the same, but I think I need to, because you guys, the only way I have thought of to make that stage is to have a constant initiative of some form, at least rolled in the background.
Yeah.
Because it's, enemies don't like,
wait.
Enemies follow a specific pattern. They don't wait. Mm-hmm. There's so many different things to it. I haven't fully decided exactly what, but I think I'm going to have every enemy act on like a modified layer action, because it's a platformer. Rather than a reroll initiative as you come across something, I would just have them act on like a 17, probably not a 20 because that's probably too rough, but like on a 17 or something like that. I've already started drawing the map. I've played through that stage and cut Shovel Knight a couple times. Like I know that I'm probably gonna have to cut a screen or two. That's fine. It's a longer stage, but
yeah,
I'm excited.
That's good.
Should be fun. I think we're definitely not gonna get through it in one session, especially since we're gonna be fucking around a little bit beforehand.
Oh yeah, a little lot. Unless you like, it'll probably either Mega's gonna have to do one hell of an RP, like just top notch, and have the words to convince Dennis, or this is probably gonna go till you cut it off.
Sure.
That's why I gave you the maybe have a interruption plan.
It's possible. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what I decide.
You never know.
And what you decide. We'll see what happens. I want to see it play out for at least a good amount of time.
I don't think Gruzik or the guy we met 10 minutes ago will likely be the one to convince Dennis. I could be wrong.
Could be someone else.
I definitely overthink my characters and definitely get into their minds. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm convinced.
We shall see.
You ever do that? You ever like have your own character notes from sessions and then go back and be like, what headspace was I in?
No, because Goofy's a very simple headspace. And March Hare is also a very simple headspace.
I always go, because they're private, so I can still see them, but I always go to the YouTube channel and watch the last 5 minutes. And be like, okay, where were we? What were we talking about? Why am I angry? Why am I not angry?
So I take that back about March Hare. I don't, because I think March Hare plays better as a character if I didn't look, because he's supposed to be chaotic. If I knew, it makes more sense in character if he switches moods suddenly.
Yeah.
And Goofy's is a rather two-dimensional character. He has his three-dimensional stuff, but he is a good paladin, which tends to lean towards a two-dimensional series of, like, philosophies. It's just how it is. So I don't usually have to. I guess I could have with Darian, but I didn't.
I do it all the time. I'll go back and just watch the very end and just to put context into the next session. And
you're gonna have to for when we play again. So we're not playing this Sunday. Or if you want to ask Court of the Dragon Queen if they want to do 2 in a row, if you want to do 2 in a row, you have 16th and 23rd open because we're not playing the 16th end of time.
Oh yeah, who's out?
Because Mega's out. Oh
yeah.
Well, we could play 1 down potentially. You've said that before with Horde.
We could.
So we'll see. Or we can run a 1-shot. I'm ready. If the 16th ends up having to be the return of DeFinto and Hank Shaw, I'm okay with this. I have no issues.
You think you can write that in a week?
More than a week. I've already written most of it.
A week and a few days.
I've written most of it. I know exactly how you guys will come back in. And I might
it's
I know how to
mission, though, right?
I know how to yeah. It's a rescue mission, and I also have the start of the next one ready to go so that you guys could lead into that and then do like another cliffhanger of next time, and then we'll just take a yeah. We're good.
I think that would be fun.
I'm down. I'm always down to continue the story. Sadly, no longer the story of Boop Snoot McBooplestoot because he's on the lam. You'll see brochures. He'll always be there, in spirit.
We're just gonna see those everywhere.
Oh yeah, you better believe it. Everywhere.
We really should have distributed them more in real towns that exist in the D&D world.
You distributed a bunch of them in Waterdeep. That's a huge real town. And you better believe Goofy is going to be handing out those pamphlets to help his newfound friend Boop Snoot McBooplestoot.
Yeah, how many do you guys have?
Probably like I'm not 100% sure on this number, but I'm gonna estimate like 100 pamphlets.
I'll allow it.
I have a feeling you would.
I don't
think you'd be against that.
I'm not. Because I wrote down 1.
Oh no, I took a stack.
Good.
Goofy would have tried to take a stack.
I want more. I want these to get distributed through. This will be like our inside joke in every game we play now.
So the Golden Keys are run by golden dragons that sit outside of time and space. Technically, like on the outer realms.
Yeah.
So this could run through any campaign.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like this will just be our running joke.
Exist anywhere. Yeah.
Well, the pamphlets themselves, maybe the Golden Keys would have them. And maybe they're going through time and
you just wait. Next time we play the End of Time, the only statue there will be Boop Snoot McBooplestoot, just with a bunch of pamphlets. Holding up a ton of pamphlets and a pottery.
No, not even. The statue is him on his back with a backpack full of them, and it's so heavy that he's not even touching the ground anymore. He's just trying to pull it down because he fucking encumbered himself with pamphlets. Which sounds a lot dirtier than it is.
Like thousands, because it's a piece of paper.
I know.
I know. Thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
We can put out the word and Out of the Abyss. I honestly am also fine if Keegan's free that Sunday to add a 5th player to that if he wants to. I don't have a worry about that.
Yeah, we can ask Reninzo if he wants to, and if not, then...
or if he can't, then we can just Rusty can come back in.
Well, I'm saying Rusty can come either way, but we'll just ask Reninzo, and if he doesn't want to, then we already have someone else anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. Especially because you're running it. You're the one who has to prep for it. So whatever you want to do, man.
I'm ready. I can do 4 or 5. That doesn't bother me. If we have 5, I'll add in a couple extra things.
As long as it's less than 20.
As long as it's 6 or less. I think that 6 was a bit much, to be honest, but I made it work for a while.
You sure did.
Combat with 6 is a bit much. Because you try and hold 6 people's attention while they can't. Well, it takes like 15 minutes for them to do something. They do one action, one bonus action, and then it takes 15 more minutes to get to them again. Like, I would just take a nap, turn off my camera. Nah, it's not true. I wouldn't.
When this is all over, there better be a good lore piece for Mega. The only remaining hero.
Yeah. I honestly understand and am 100% cool if he decides his character just wants to go be a shepherd again. I think that is a perfectly fine lore piece. That'll be up to him, whether he wants to continue or not. I do already have... so next campaign, I actually decided it makes a lot more sense if you guys start at level 1 rather than 4 because of how it's going to start. I have the start of everything already all planned out. I'm ready. By that I mean I have a lot more preparation to do, but I'm also mentally ready for when it happens.
Realistically, what kind of a timeline are we looking at? How excited should I be to start the next one? Or is it soon or is it a long way? I'm not even looking for a number.
Do you mean like the end of our current campaign?
Yeah.
So that
I'm not looking for a number.
If the general consensus is everyone's cool after Shovel Knight, I could be after that. I'm gonna do it 2 portals at a time and then just say how you guys doing. So it could be like that, or it could be later, and then like my guess is we're gonna go through a minimum of 4 portals, and then we might say, okay, let's go beat this guy up, and so that would be 4, probably 5 more sessions, and then 6th one for actually doing the last. So we're looking at 6 more sessions.
So not
probably
going
to be mid-year. It's probably going to be sometime around like June.
Yeah.
That we end it.
Yeah, it's only a few months away. Not that long.
Yeah.
You should, in D&D Beyond, just make the campaign and share assets, and I'm going to be thinking about character.
Yeah. It's not giving anything away. You guys, so the only thing I want a little bit different is I want all of the 4 characters to know each other for a period of time. You can pick, make it of course in D&D and make it make sense for D&D, but you can pick any world you want to. And the 4 of you are starting off as, the way you know each other is you're all orphans who was adopted by the same person. So you can pick anything you want for a world, as long as you make it make sense in D&D. You could make one of the things I thought of was you can have be fancy with it if you want. I know I'm gonna have somewhere in there. I think your adopted mother is going to be a cleric that doesn't actually use magic. Every spell she technically uses is going to have a real world twist on it. Like healings are going to be through bandages. Sacred Fire is going to be like a mini firebomb, which there's a story reason why she can't do that, but Styx is cleric. But feel free to get fancy with it, as long as it sticks within the rules of D&D 5e, because I cannot make my own system.
So, is this semi-post-apocalyptic?
Yeah.
Like it's times are tough.
Times aren't great, that's for sure. They're more stable because it's going to be about 100 years after. And depending on how tough times are, depending on how you guys do post in the epilogue, partially. You guys have already done a pretty decent job setting up decent times from what you've done already. What happens in the epilogue will tell exactly how big of a presence, depending if you set anything up. Like there's a bunch of factors to see how tough times are, but they aren't like fantastic by any means.
I guess what I'm getting at is this a happy feel good campaign or is this a sad one?
It's going to definitely have more happy feel good. There's going to be more of a range. It's not going to be as oppressive because
random thought I had was, does it fit the tone better if we're all orphans at an orphanage that didn't get adopted? What fits the tone better?
The tone is fit much better by having you adopted by one person.
Okay.
Or by between it being two. But yeah.
Okay.
That fits the tone better from the start.
Okay.
It's not like super depressing. Like there are good things to it, and at least it's definitely gonna have a little bit more ups and downs than this current one, and you're gonna probably feel like you win a little bit more, rather than feel like you're always just kind of you're on the back foot.
Is our mother nice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like your orphans, which is this is funny because it's the D&D trope, but your adopted person that you have is actually a nice family, so it kind of also goes against the D&D trope of my parents suck.
Is she a single mom, or do we have like a whole family is there a dad?
So you'd have a father and a mother.
How old are we when the campaign starts? Are we still like teenagers, or are we full grown now?
You would be within the younger part. So you'd be
like 20s. We're in our 20s
like
if we're
early
humans.
20s. Pretend if you're humans, you're in your early 20s. Yeah.
Okay. So we've potentially moved out.
The youngest of you could still be in your late teens if you wanted to.
We don't necessarily know literally everything about each other because we could have moved away for a couple years. So like, there might be stuff about my character that they don't know, even though they know me fully through and through. I can have secrets from them.
So that would have to go a little bit more into the lore of what's there.
Okay.
To tell you whether you could have moved. You probably couldn't have moved far because the way it's set up in the end of time.
I just mean not living in my mom's house.
Right. I mean, you'd end up being in the same village, so you would see people, but you don't have to do a flip, especially if you're one of the older ones. But you also could still be there. That's a choice from character to character.
But like I could be in my own apartment getting drunk every night and they wouldn't know. Like as an example, stuff that's easy to hide could be hidden.
You could still hide. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're going to have every detail.
It's not like we're leaving a home for the first time as a family. Goodbye, time to go party.
No. You are definitely, you could still, if you want to, or you can have your own apartment. You could be as close to your siblings as you want to and whatnot, but you are like, you're a family.
That's good.
Yeah.
Gotta decide who I want to be.
That also makes it a lot easier for me to do something different than just, you go up to an adventure board and there's a bounty and you need money, go do a thing.
Definitely having party members know each other is a lot better and smoother.
I agree. And the entire you'll, of course, like you said, you'll have some things that you keep secret from each other because if you've moved out and whatnot, like who knows what's happening in your life at the moment. But you will know each other. You'll have like a solid background.
The whole point of having it that way is so that none of the characters, unless you're, how do I say this nicely? Unless you're play D&D a lot and really get into role playing, there is no reason to hide stuff from anybody.
Right.
If you're not sure, you should probably tell everybody. Unless you've been playing for a really long time and you know what kind of secrets to be kept, assume that the other people at the table are capable of doing the separation.
Yeah.
Like the stuff I'm specifically talking about right now that would be examples of things I would want to hide from my party is like, maybe I moonlight as a thug for a gang.
Sure. And I don't stronger, like maybe you've fallen in with the bad crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, there is.
Or like, maybe I'm just doing something my mother wouldn't approve of, and I don't want my adoptive siblings who might tell her to know. It's more family lore related stuff I want to keep from them than game stuff, but like...
Yeah.
If
and do you keep in mind, I mean, that works totally. Do you keep in mind that towns are going to be smaller in this world?
Like,
but you'd still have enough room to do that. Like, you'd still be okay. Like,
when I was
able to kind of keep that.
I guess what I'm kind of getting at is what I'm trying to tell the viewers. I once played a game where somebody wanted to hide something from their players, and I was like, cool, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Go ahead. But they didn't really understand what they were doing. And they hid from all of their friends that they were, and they wrote it down. They didn't show me beforehand, but they did write it down beforehand.
Well, what?
But what they wanted was they wanted to be so deathly afraid of water that no matter what, they would be at disadvantage when they did it.
Oh, okay.
And it was in Curse of Strahd with the rowboat scene.
Oh.
And, yeah, he determined that Fireball at disadvantage meant he accidentally cast it on his party.
Why did he determine that?
He thought it was good.
That seems excessive.
Thought it was good storytelling.
But it's not.
But he didn't convey any of that to his players. He just, the way he showed that was just, well, as long as you guys have known me, I've never stood close to water. None of us have, actually. This is the first time any of us have stood beside.
Right, there's like a lake in Strahd. I guess there's a couple rivers, maybe. But there's like a big lake. That's the big water body in Strahd.
But like, so the point of that is like, typically don't hide things from each other.
No,
enjoy the experience. But once you've played for a long time and you know which things are, a good.
Yeah.
What things the players will appreciate knowing later if you can layer it. Like, the sling that I bought and told absolutely nobody, not even Cal, that I bought it because Algernon told me he needed it to defend himself.
And then I found out later and we were like, you son of a bitch.
Because like people were like, you just didn't see that you didn't have any decks. I was like, no, I knew. I knew I was never going to use this thing, and I still conned you into making me buy it.
It's true. It worked.
But like,
got your sling.
There's a difference between hiding that and being an experienced player and just,
And like a way of moonlighting as a thug isn't going to make too much of a difference. Like you might have some mild family drama come off of that. But that's it.
But that's the stuff I want to hide. The stuff that'll cause the drama that
it's possible, and it is definitely possible to do that. You have enough room in the town.
I like to hide things for RP reason. So like if I'm hiding it, I'm gonna act it. Not just be like, well, I never stood near water. It's like,
and now I just fireballed my group.
For me, it's more like, no, I want to act nervous when certain things happen. I want to bring that dynamic to the character. I don't want... Yeah. But to be clear, this person did ask, like, if I, like, make up a pretty intense flaw, can I get an extra feat? And I was like, no. And then he was like, oh, can I hide something from the party? And I was like, sure.
Okay.
And then he's like, I'll write it down. And then he put it in an envelope and he sealed it. So, like, I know he wrote it down. But, like, I don't know why he decided disadvantage on an AoE attack was I'm going to purposefully target my own party, but...
I mean, you're going to have disadvantage on an AoE attack. That's not how that works.
No.
You can maybe make it so that things that have to make the save roll with advantage, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, like, the towns are smaller. They are a little bit more on the, like... They have walls that are built specifically for defense. There's a couple ballistas and stuff on there. And occasionally, like, there'll be a whole system as far as if something comes close to a wall, like a bell is rung. You guys have probably at some point in your younger life shot a ballista or two.
Yeah.
So we might start off, like, do a little backstory with you guys as younger. And not do any like combat or anything, and then get you guys really quickly, just to build a little bit of background, and then
yeah, we could do that. But yeah, the reason that's so much easier is because when you're playing with players who aren't so RP heavy, there's no reason for everybody not to know everything. So it's an immediate, well, why am I invested? because your family's here. Or someone you're interested because of these people. If you can't, it just ties
what's really, really rough to hide from a party? Crucial information to the plot for RP reasons.
No, it looks pretty easy to me.
Yeah.
Considering we asked multiple times. Oh, does anybody know anything about this?
I'm just like, nope.
I guess not.
Like, cool. Okay. That's fine. Whatever. You guys got the information. You guys have gotten all of the information that was withheld from you at this point. And yeah, no, like, it's actually funny you said that you would need to, like, put not a stop, but like an intermission in for Dennis, because I already had something starting to get planned to explain a little bit more about certain things and just have a little bit of a sit down with Xavier before things. Not Xavier, Godric. Keep on mixing up my dragon names. Godric up a little bit. Like, I already had something planned, and then you told me to have something planned, and I was like, yep. Gotcha.
I honestly don't see them convincing me. I don't see a world. Like I said, Mega maybe. Because at this point, Mega's
I'll write up the
only person I
Asmodean
really
fight
know.
right now and ready to go. You guys can go with those crystal shards. You'll just be level 12.
I think Godric will probably be able to convince him, but I don't think anybody in my party is going to be able to convince me.
He'll definitely, Godric will probably, at first, he will probably just try and sit back and let your party do stuff. And if he feels a need to, he will try and convince you.
And I think he will be able to. Dennis would see him as wise. So, like, if Godric himself is like, look, don't worry about it. Like, this is everybody's where you're at, and you're gonna come out of this. Dennis would be like, you know what? Fuck yeah! But like, he doesn't see Dennis or Gruzik or Simon as wise, right?
Yeah, so, like, none of the rest of your party is that wise.
I think I'm the wisest
Mega's wiser
person
than
in
he
the
lets.
party.
Mega is wiser than he lets on.
Yes, he is. But Dennis thinks he's the wisest person in the party.
Yeah.
So, like, he's stumped by this. He can't get out of this on his own. So, like, it's going to take a pretty inspiring speech from Mega or someone he thinks is wiser than him.
Come from Mega.
It's
like,
easier.
Mega feels better because he has the great hammer, like Deity's
I agree.
hammer, and had some fun. I just don't think he's going to be able to get an inspiring speech going.
That's what I'm thinking.
He's questioning whether he wants to do this himself.
That's what I'm thinking. But Simon's brand new friend, Gruzik, we're going to get to know still. We're getting there.
You guys are going to get to know each other.
But, like, right now, Mega is, like, my only friend.
Yeah.
So, like...
It's also the only one from the original party. That Oracle was fucking wrong.
Oh, yeah. No. She made a promise. And...
that you guys are going to be fine. And she was wrong. She was just wrong.
I died twice on the same character.
Yeah. You got wrecked. Destroyed.
I... crit a death save at disadvantage. I got 2 20s.
And you still...
And he still died.
Still died.
And I wasn't upset.
Yeah.
I was shocked that it was possible to roll 2 20s on disadvantage.
Crit the success.
That was the only part that hurt. I didn't think it was possible.
Yeah, to get a crit success on disadvantage and then still die.
Or just rolling those two. I've seen it happen with advantage. Where you're like, oh, I guess I didn't need advantage after all.
Yeah, but not with disadvantage. No one ever sees that with disadvantage.
Or on a death save.
Yeah. Yeah, she died. And then, Dennis has been doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Has he gone? He went unconscious in the dark matter fight, right? Or was that just Gruzik?
I think it was just Gruzik. I didn't really get hit. That's why I was like,
You went unconscious in the shadow fight.
Yeah, because I didn't look at my health. Remember, I looked in D&D Beyond and I didn't check Foundry, and I only had like 11 health. Even though
it's actually so much easier right now to track spell slots and health in Foundry because of the automation.
Yeah, now that we have the automation, it's easier. So now what I do is at the end of the night, I just put it in D&D Beyond.
Yeah, in case I have to re-import or anything like that. But yeah, because of the automatic spell slot and automatic health, I've been always looking to Foundry for people's health and spell slots if I'm re-importing now.
Yeah, now what I do is on the turn before mine, I open up D&D Beyond because I like the way they lay out actions, spells, and inventory.
I wish that D&D Beyond, like, the best part of the Unreal stuff, like having their own tabletop, is they lay out things better than I think any tabletop.
Yeah, their
layout
sheet
is the nicest.
It's perfect.
Amazing.
Their character
and now that they're
great.
going to have a VTT with it, as long as it doesn't cost an arm and a leg a month, which it probably will, but if it doesn't, I would switch to that VTT because I already have money in D&D Beyond.
That VTT, calling it now,
it's going to cost way too much.
It's going to cost $20 a month, and it's only going to work with one D&D.
I agree with you. I don't even have anything to like put up an argument against that. It is just correct.
That's what they're going to do. It's going to release the same day as one D&D.
I hope it doesn't, but I'm 100. I think you're right.
Did you notice in the trailer they showed just enough to show that you don't know what rule set it is?
Yeah.
They didn't really show anything. They really focused on the program.
They might still be a little bit on the fence, but they're pretty close to sure that they're doing that with one D&D, and they want to hide it just a little bit. If it's in a perfect world, it would release for 5e. It would be like you said what, $100 a year, like $10 a month added on to a subscription.
Yeah.
For it, I would do that, and then I would say, okay, guys, you already have your characters made in D&D Beyond, so we're just going to import them into this, and it's going to be great. The only thing I would miss is the way. I really think if they want to make their BTT work, they add a feature like Foundry, and I think you said Fantasy Grounds has the same thing, where you have an adventure and you just import it.
Yeah.
Like, make Strahd. Like, let me hit a button, and then all of Strahd's maps and everything, all the monsters appear in VTT.
I guarantee you they're going to have that. My fear is that's all that you're going to be able to do with it.
Right, because then Homebrew is going to have a really rough time, which
I think that's how that's going to have to go, unless you can code in Unreal.
Yeah. It might be unfortunate. I might have to keep my Homebrew and Foundry just to have the easiness of making a map. That also would mean Dungeon Alchemist loses a lot of its...
Oh, the other thing I think,
okay, hear me out.
Yep.
What if they do a thing where you can import pre-made maps? Like maybe Dungeon Alchemist could add something like it does for Foundry, where it just imports a map in. Because it already has a 3D. Like, you already can have a 3D
Dungeon
view.
Alchemist will always be able to do that because they're going to be using community content.
Oh, that's true. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that makes sense then. So you could use, and Dungeon Alchemist already has a 3D model. Well, you would just import the 3D model into...
Here's the problem, though. With every other VTT, I can just use an image. Is that going to be an option here? Do I have to use a fully 3D map, or can I use an image?
Yeah, they might actually cut it down to any map maker or anything that's not... Maybe you actually will need a 3D model.
Yeah.
That would suck, because there are so many maps online that are in 2D that are just images.
Yep. But then you'd have to buy their content or use the community content.
Yeah, you'd probably end up having to use the community content.
And then, well, maybe. It depends how good it is, right? Like...
Oh, I think the community content's going to be great if you can create easily with it.
I was going to say, it depends how hard it is to make. If you got to know how to code to do it, who knows, right?
I think you're still going to find some pretty decent community content. There'll just be less of it if you have to know how to code to do it.
Well, nothing will be unique at that point because everyone will just have the same 10 things, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even call that community. I'd say that's like 5 or 6 people who are just, helping everybody else.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But so we kind of spent our entire time doing recaps.
That's fine. E3 is not happening. There you go. There's your downloads.
Yep.
E3 was canned. Too many people pulled out. That was it.
They pulled that shit out. They said nope.
That's smart. They had no one was signed up for E3. People were pulling out left and right, and they were like, "Yeah, this isn't going to happen." That was it. There's your downloads. We got in some downloads this week.
I saw the Mario movie yesterday.
I don't think you want to get into that. Go down that rabbit hole though. That's gonna take too long.
Oh yeah, no. I could talk for an hour on that.
Give me a 0 to 10.
A 0 to 10.
Average. Don't like break it down into its different parts. I just want a like.
Okay, but you need to know that I'm harsh on movies in general.
Sure.
I've never given anything a 10.
See, okay, stop right there. Just give me a 0 to 10. I don't want any context. I want just a Rufus 0 to 10 on a movie. No context.
4 out of 10.
Okay. So I would think that means it's a pretty bad movie, but you have told me that you thought it's it's not a good movie, but it's worth a watch.
Amazing soundtrack, absolutely beautiful animation. The 3D is my favorite kind of 3D, where it's just like the wisps in the wind are in 3D. And it just adds depth. It just feels, like the room is actually deep.
I don't watch things in 3D because it doesn't work well over my glasses.
That's fair. Well, yeah.
That's essentially all it comes down to.
That's fair.
I'd rather be able to see than to see in 3D, but everything's blurry.
I typically don't like 3D because normally they go over the top and they try, like the people like punching the screen.
Yeah, punching the screen.
Like that kind of stuff doesn't really happen in this movie. Or if it does, it's so subtle that like it only comes out like a little bit. So again, it just adds a bit of depth. It feels like the screen is like this thick kind of thing.
Those are the types of games I liked on the 3DS that I would turn on 3D for, is when there was nothing. Like there was just minimal 3D, like adding a little bit to it. Not this crazy 3D effect.
But
yeah, 4 out of 10. Nope, cut stream. We're done.
4 out of 10. The one thing I'll give it positively is Chris Pratt's voice is not a deal breaker.
Okay. You heard it here, folks.
It's not
Chris
as
Pratt
weird.
Does not do the worst job ever as Mario.
And, well, like when you first think of it, you think he's going to be saying lines that sound like what Mario would say.
But it's not. He's just talking as Chris Pratt.
He said it in an interview, so this isn't a spoiler. He talked about how kind of cartoonish the premise is and how cartoonish the idea is. So something kind of had to ground it. And he didn't want to do the fake Italian voice to put it over the top. He wanted to ground it because the words he was saying wouldn't match the character of the "It's a me."
Sure.
So like he went with his normal voice because the words he was saying are serious words, and it would be a tone clash is basically what he said. And I would agree with that, and that's why it's not jarring.
Okay. I'm probably going to see it at some point. I'm excited. I'll come back next week with my Dungeons and Dragons movie number.
Yeah. Maybe next week we'll just do all downloads. We'll talk Mario and Dungeons and Dragons.
I think we talk too much about recaps for us to do all downloads.
Oh no, we just wouldn't do them that week.
We're not going to do. I mean, we could skip recaps because we might only have one. I mean, we could do a super quick recap if we only have Out of the Abyss and that's it. But then again, Out of the Abyss we talk about for half an hour.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about. So many things happen.
Lots of fun stuff, but we're gonna go.
It's time to go.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.